What's happening, folks? In today's video, I want to go through the in-camera RAW conversion settings that you get on Fujifilm cameras. Specifically, I'm going to be doing it on the X100V, but you can do pretty much the exact same thing on other Fuji cameras as well. In-camera RAW conversion is basically just processing your RAW files in your camera instead of putting it into your computer and processing them that way. It's particularly useful if you just don't want to go through the step of processing your pictures on a laptop or on a tablet or mobile phone or whatever, or if you're traveling and haven't taken that stuff with you and you just want to process it and share it quickly or do whatever. Anytime where you don't want to spend time really processing it on your laptop or in like a post-processing program, this will come in useful. It's particularly useful if you want to change your film simulation. If you don't like the one you used, you can change it to whatever one you would like. You can change your white balance and all that sort of stuff that maybe didn't come out as you would like in camera. What it's not good for is extensive sort of edits or even dodging and burning, even if it's just a little bit. You can't crop with it or mess with individual colors. So really, for basic editing, it does not seem intuitive the first time you use it, maybe even the first few times you use it. I've been shooting for a year and a half with Fujifilm, and only recently I've actually started to use in-camera RAW conversion. But we are going to go through it. I'm going to show you how I've came to love it, and hopefully give you some useful insights as to how you can integrate this into your shooting experience, workflow, whatever you want to do with it. So in your camera, you're going to hit the play button and go into your pictures. You're going to find the one that you want to use and then hit menu and go into this RAW conversion up here. You can make one that just reflects the shooting conditions, which will just make a JPEG out of what you have there. You can also change the image size, so you can crop it basically to a square if you like, but you can't choose where, if we just make it, where it crops that square. It just crops it in the middle and you can't really choose any different. So I tend to just leave it as it is there. Image quality, if you want to make it smaller, you can. Push-pull processing, so this picture is pretty underexposed, so I'm gonna add a stop. Film simulation, this is where you can change to a different film simulation that you like. I've used classic chrome a lot. This one might benefit from just being black and white though, so we'll put it on acros. You can add grain if you like. I'm going to leave that out. It's going to be black and white, so color chrome won't do anything. White balance, I'm going to leave that. Tone curve, I'm going to make the highlights a bit brighter and the shadows a bit darker. Get some contrast in that black and white. Sharpness, I tend to just leave on 0. Don't like to mess with it too much. Noise reduction, I have that on -2, but it's not really going to do much in this case. Clarity, I always leave it 0. I don't really like to add clarity. And color space, I don't touch that. So when I want to create it, I just hit the Q button up here and it processes it and I get this nice kind of silhouette shot. And I think that looks pretty good, but if you weren't happy with it, instead of having to save it like that, you just hit the back button and then you can change things. So if you wanted to change the film simulation and actually keep it as color, you could just take it back up to classic chrome or whatever film simulation you like and then hit Q again and you've got it there. And then if you want to store it and keep it, you do that and then it'll take you back to the original picture. And once you're done with that, you can just scroll through, find the next picture that you want to do. Let's do this one this time, a kind of bright colorful street scene. So back into menu, RAW conversion. Push-pull processing, I might just, you know what, I'll leave that at 0. Film simulation this time, we're on classic chrome. I'm going to try this one on Pro Neg High. Color chrome effect is on weak. The color chrome effect blue, I'm going to leave that one off. White balance is on auto, but I'm going to change it to daylight. Tone curve this time, I'm going to leave the highlights there and drop the shadows down to +1. If you don't have the tone curve option in your menu system, if you have an older camera, you'll just see highlight and shadow tone. And you can just change it that way, and it's basically the same thing, it's just separated into two different menus. Color is on +2, I'll leave it at that. And I'm gonna, yeah, and that's it. And then hit Q. That came out pretty well. I think I'm gonna try adding the blue color chrome effect to bring a bit more color into that sky. And then that one looks good, so I'm gonna hit menu and OK, and that takes us back to where we were and saves that picture. So we're going to scroll through again. Let's edit this one. So hit the menu button, raw conversion, push pull processing. I'm going to add 1/3 of a stop. Film simulation is classic chrome. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave those where they were. White balance, I'm going to do daylight. Go in the tone curve, we'll leave the highlights where they are and add +1 on the shadows. Color is at +2, I'll leave it there. And everything else is fine. I'll hit the Q button, see how it looks. Not bad, but I want it to be a little bit warmer, so I'm going to hit the back button and then go into white balance with Kelvin this time. I'm going to change it to 5600. And then hit create. That looks a bit better to me, a little bit warmer. And you can go back and change things as much as you want. So if you then decide you want a different film simulation, you can do classic neg and then create. Doesn't look as good, I preferred classic chrome. I just created it by accident, but it is what it is. So you can just do it again and go into raw conversion, push pull, film simulation, classic chrome, white balance, (5600), tone curve, shadows. There we go. I like that one, so I'll save it and move on to the next. This picture came out really dark. It seemed really underexposed. So I'm going to brighten this one up a lot. Put about a stop and 1/3. I'm going to leave it on classic chrome. I like to not mess around with too many different film simulations, just pick one I like and stick with it. Leave those where they are. White balance, we'll make it daylight. Tone curve. I'm going to brighten up the highlights. And I'm going to brighten up the shadows on this one because it's very dark. Color's already at +2, so create that. That looks quite good, but still a little cool. So we'll go back and change that white balance again. To 5600. There we go, that looks a bit better. Hit menu and save it. At first when you try this, it's not going to feel intuitive. It is going to take a little while to work up that muscle memory, but once you've done it a few times, it starts to feel a bit more natural, and you're going to find that when you're out and about, you don't want to open your laptop, or it's just a picture that's not important enough to spend time editing it in Lightroom or Capture One or whatever, then this is going to be kind of your go-to way to edit your pictures. There's 1 or 2 pictures that I've posted to Instagram recently that were edited this way. I haven't been super worried about getting that perfect edit. They were already looking pretty good in camera. Just a little tweak with the raw conversion and they were pretty much ready to post. If I was going to go and print something or it was a bit more serious, I would spend the time to edit it in Lightroom and make it look exactly how I want it to. But for casual stuff, this in-camera raw conversion is more than good enough. And in some instances, it's good enough for printing as well. So if you have a Fujifilm camera that you can do this with, I encourage you to give it a go if you haven't before and see if it works for you. It might not work for you just now, but maybe down the line you'll find a situation where you think it'll be useful and you'll have that knowledge about how to do it. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more Fujifilm based videos, hit that subscribe button. I make new videos every week. That's it for this one. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.